I've got a great story of redemption. The kind of story that makes you stop and go, boy, I don't think I'm doing enough as a Christian. Welcome back to Bible Bears, guys. I'm Ryder Cullison. So, this is a great story. These are the kind of stories that we need to hear about today. We don't need to hear about people trashing cars or trying to break into federal buildings or just all the negativity, people yelling at restaurants. We need stories like this. Before we get on with the story, guys, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you will be notified when I post new videos. 2010, there's a woman in Alabama named Jocelyn James. She's had numerous surgeries to remove cysts on her ovaries. She's in pain, I suppose. She gets addicted to opioids. She's so addicted that she's using intravenous drugs up to 16 times a day. So, in 2011, there's an officer named Terrell Potter. Jocelyn, at this point, has accrued a number of charges against her, including theft, criminal possession of a credit card, and drug possession. So Terrell Potter goes to arrest her. She gets put in jail. She spends 2 months in jail. In 2012, after accruing 16 charges in 7 years, Jocelyn James is watching TV. And on comes the TV, an ad, television program, and there's her face. She's the most wanted woman in Franklin County. She breaks down and cries, "How could I have gotten to this point in my life?" She goes, turns herself into the police. She spends 6 months this time in jail. In 2013, after hitting rock bottom, she decides she's going to check herself in a rehab and turn her life over to God. She is calling on God for His healing. At that point, things only go up. She gets her life cleaned up. Flash forward now to 2019. Terrell Potter, the police officer who has at this point in the past arrested Jocelyn twice, his kidneys are failing. One kidney is operating only at 5%, and he's certainly months, if not years away from getting a kidney donation. But he believes that God will come through for him. His daughter posts something on Facebook, a cry for help, I suppose. And guess who sees the post? Jocelyn James, the former drug addict that was arrested twice by Terrell Potter. She hears the Holy Spirit calling to her, "Help this man," and she's ready to fulfill her duty as a Christian of love thy neighbor. She goes and gets tested. Time passes. She hears from the hospital, "Congratulations, Miss James. You are a perfect match for your father." Jocelyn replies, "That's wonderful news, but I'm not his daughter." The nurse replies, "Really? We've never seen a more perfect kidney match." Can you believe that? The Holy Spirit calls to Jocelyn and says, "Help this man because you will be able to." A man that's arrested her twice, he was only doing his duty, but still, she could have been bitter. She could have been bitter about the situation she had put herself in. She could have been bitter like so many others in this country because the police officer came to arrest her. And yet, she hears the Holy Spirit calling to her. She reaches out and she has a perfect match. Jump ahead again to July 2020. There was the delay because of COVID, being able to get in the hospital. July 2020, July 21st to be exact, they performed surgery. Terrell's got a new kidney. He's out of the hospital. He's doing well. He's at least bought himself a few more years on life. Jocelyn's happy. They have a great friendship. Terrell said, Jocelyn is like one of his daughters. Jocelyn continues to be clean. She now runs she has several jobs. She runs a nonprofit called Place of Grace, where they help young women beat their addictions. So what we can really reflect on here is not just the outstanding Christian stewardship of giving her kidney. I mean, she saved a life. This is a woman with drug charge after drug charge and criminal charge, theft, possession, everything. This is a woman that if she were arrested by the police and if she were to die, something were to happen to her, if she were to get shot, we would mourn the loss. We would say sorry for her family, pray for her family, but she was a drug addict. She continued to break the law, and these things happen to people who continue to break the law. We've seen it throughout the last 6 months in our nation. People who are breaking the law, getting in trouble with police, and their life taking a huge turn for the worse. And yet, we also see in this woman the redemptive power of Christ. She turned her life around. She turned her life over to God. She said, Jesus, take the wheel. And now, not only did she save the life of a police officer who arrested her, but she's now saving the life of hundreds of other young women, teenagers who have become addicted to drugs. This is the type of story that we need. This is what we need to look at and say, this is what Christianity is all about. We don't, as Christians, don't do things solely because God commands us to. That's a misconception that many non-believers have. They think we only do things because God has commanded us to do them. Jocelyn didn't do this only because God asks us to love our neighbor. She did this because Christianity changes your heart. You're not told just to do this, you now want to do this. She wanted to save this man's life. This would not have happened in 2010, 2011, 13, before she sobered up, before she turned her life over to Christ. These things happen because Christianity changes your heart. This is what we need in this nation. Nothing short of God, nothing short of God will heal this country. I like how Denzel Washington put it when he was asked a few years ago about Black Lives Matter and racial injustice in this nation. He said, you can't legislate love. You can't come up with laws to make people want to be nice to one another. You have to have your heart changed. You have to desire to love one another. That's what happened to Jocelyn James. That's what happened to Terrell Potter. He probably had notions about Jocelyn James. This woman may be lost. She's got kids and she continues to do drugs. These are the same thoughts that we've had about everybody who does drugs, who's addicted. We think that they're selfish, irresponsible. And yet, she turned her life around and then came to him and said, I'm going to save your life. Wonderful story. Please share this. We need to get stories like this out into the public so that people can look at this and say, you know what? I can stop yelling. I can stop screaming. I can stop pointing fingers. I can stop acting self-righteous. And I can start getting into the trenches and just start being a good, loving person. Maybe you can't save a life, but you can join a church. You can join a nonprofit. You can feed the homeless. You can watch children in a nursery one day at church. Everybody can do their part. Thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, and share. As always, thanks for tuning in. I love you. Have a blessed day.